Well, hello there and welcome to today's video. We are going to be doing some dinner prep in just a minute, and I'm also going to be showing you how to make yogurt yourself. And you guys have asked me this a few times because I've talked about how I make my own yogurt from scratch. So I thought we'd start today's video. I'm going to show you that. We're going to hop into some dinner meal prep and we'll go from there. Alright, so making yogurt from scratch is actually not that difficult. It's kind of like doing a sourdough though, where you need something to start with. So first of all, I have a yogurt maker. So this is a brand called EasyYo. I picked this up in my local secondhand shop for about $5. Actually, full credit to my husband who found this for $5 in our local secondhand store. So this is the parts to the yogurt maker itself. So it came with all the parts and it came with 2 of these tubs, and I'll show you why in just a second. This bit here, it's kind of like an insulated thermos type mug. So you do not want to submerge this in water, run it in the dishwasher or anything. You can rinse it out with hot water if you need to. But this has a couple of little ridges in it, you'll see, and it has a holder. So in that goes, and this is basically where you're going to put hot water in here. I'll show you exactly how to do it. You're going to put hot water in here, and we're going to put the yogurt mix in here with the hot water inside, close it up and let it stand for a good while. And that is essentially how the yogurt gets its texture and how it thickens up. So I'm sure there are other things, other brands that you could use. Hang on, focus. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. Anyway, it's called EasyYo. And I'm sure there are many other brands. I don't know if this was a big thing back in the day, but I learned how to make this recently from my mother-in-law. And when it comes to your ingredients, it's very simple. I have some old yogurt here that I made the other week. A bit hard to see, but you can kind of see there's a tiny bit of liquid in it. But this is a very creamy, natural yogurt. So you need a yogurt to start with, kind of like your sourdough bread starter. Now, before I had yogurt to use, I started this with a full fat yogurt from my supermarket, nothing flavored, nothing with sweeteners. I have started this both with pot set yogurt, and I have tried starting it with Greek yogurt. So you can start it with either, but it has to be a full fat version. You could try it with other things if you really wanted to, but I have never had success with anything that's not full fat. So totally up to you. Try it. Let me know in the comments if it works for you. But we need about three generous tablespoons or so of old yogurt. So I've got a little bit left here. We're going to be using a little bit of this today to make the new yogurt. Then we're going to need so we're going to put this in here with some cold water and some milk powder. This whole bag is, I think, $10 or so you can buy them at Woolies or at Coles here in Australia, but it's essentially just a full cream milk powder. And that is it. So those are the things we're going to need. We need my old yogurt, some milk powder, and an empty, very clean container. So let's get started. All right, so this is now 500 ml of dry milk powder. Now, and I've spilt all over myself as well. That's just how it works, isn't it? Now I'm going to take cold water, very important. I'm going to have cold water and fill it up to the top and shake this up so that it blends. Okay, so I've filled it up to the full line with cold water, nothing else. Put the lid on real good. And now we need to give this a really good shake. Okay, so now I can see that there is no powder buildup in the bottom. It's all been really nice and well shaken up. And you can see that as it's blended in, I have got less liquid in here, so we're going to have to top this up. In the meantime, I need boiling hot water to put in here to help the yogurt process. So I've got my kettle boiling there in the background. And now we are going to add the existing yogurt culture into here, fill it up with a little bit of water, and then we're almost done. All right, so we have my water and milk powder mixture here, and here is my old yogurt. So I don't need quite everything in here, and look, I don't really measure anymore because I've made this so many times, but I'm gonna put a generous sort of 3-ish tablespoons or so. And this is a really important bit because this is what's going to get this yogurt culture that you want. All right, so we've got our blend in there. I am going to fill it up with a little bit more water, and then we're going to gently whisk and blend in this yogurt so that it's not all lumpy. Okay, I've got my big whisk here, and we are just gently going to break up the yogurt that we put in here. We don't want to whisk it too hard, but we do want it to blend as much as possible. Is there a few tiny little lumps? It doesn't matter, it's okay. I have had it work just fine. So as you lift the whisk up, you'll see if there are any big lumps. We're looking pretty good here. Okay. So I topped this up to the full line here, and I'm now just waiting for my kettle to finish boiling so that we can put all of this together. But that's essentially how easy it is. If it's looking a little bit lumpy still, you can gently kind of blend it like so, but you don't want to give it that vigorous shake that we did at the start because it's already combined. And that's how you make yogurt. There we go, welcome back. So I've now filled it up to the red line in this thing. And now we're simply going to put the yogurt tub in here. And this is about 1 liter or so of boiling water, maybe a touch more. So in goes my yogurt tub. I've obviously made sure the lid is on properly. And we want to click this shut. And that's it. So this is now going to sit, I normally just sit it on my counter next to my coffee machine. And I normally let it sit in there for anywhere between kind of 8 to 12 hours. So overnight is great. You can do it in the morning and put it away in the fridge in the evening. But it is so easy. It's fairly foolproof. And a bag like this, which is, I believe, 1 kilo, and like I said, it's pretty standard to buy this in the supermarket. This makes me about 5 to 7, probably 6 or 7 tubs of yogurt. And I pay about $10 for this, which means that each tub does not cost me very much. I don't know where you live, but where we live, a largish tub of yogurt is anywhere between sort of $3 and $5, especially for sort of Greek style. So this is a really cost-effective way to make yogurt yourself. It doesn't have a lot of ingredients, and technically, like, I actually learned it from my mother-in-law, and she started doing it partially because when they go camping and things like that, you can actually make this out in the middle of nowhere as long as you've got a kettle and then obviously somewhere to refrigerate it when it's done. Now, I will say, once the yogurt is finished, sometimes when it's, you know, you've had it in here for anywhere between kind of 8 to 12 hours, you take it out, give it a little wipe down. And before you eat the first little bit, you might find that there's sort of a bubbly little surface, kind of a couple of mil thick on the very top. I normally just skim that off and chuck it in the bin or chuck it in your green waste bin if you have one. But it is such a creamy yogurt. Now, it's not sweet because it doesn't have any sweeteners in it. So quite often, if you prefer sweet yogurt, you can mix in some honey, some maple syrup. I quite often do sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon in. We will often have this yogurt because it's really nice and rich. We'll often have this as a dessert with some fruit, some frozen berries, anything like that. So let me know how you go, and I do hope that you can find one of these magical contraptions in a secondhand store near you. If not, I am sure that you can still purchase them online. I will have a quick scan and leave links in the description below if I can find any similar looking ones. But this has saved us so much money, $5 for the machine itself, and $10 every 1 to 2 months, depending how much yogurt we eat. It's a pretty good deal, I reckon. So good luck. Let me know in the comments below if you do end up making your own yogurt and how you like it. Okay, so we're going to try a new recipe today, and I'm actually missing a few spices, but we're going to wing it anyway and go ahead. So I've got 500 grams of beef mince. The recipe calls for a medium to large potato. These are quite small, so I'm going to use 3 of these. We've got a brown onion. We need coconut cream, olive oil, tomato paste. In terms of seasoning, it calls for cumin, curry powder, and garam masala, but I don't have curry powder and garam masala. I was sure that I did. So anyway, we're going to wing it and kind of use these 2 instead. I've got a little bit of water back there, and I've got a mix of fresh spinach and frozen spinach. I had a little bit left in a bag in the fridge that needed to be used up, so we're going to use the frozen one today. Some frozen peas. And those are all the bones of the curry itself. I'm going to make a small serving of rice because I'm going to be having this for lunch today, and then we'll be having it for dinner probably tomorrow. So I'm going to cook up a small portion of rice, and because we've got beef mince here, I'm going to use a beef stock cube in the rice. I find that that just helps make it really nice and seasoned. So that's all we're going to be needing for this recipe. So when it comes to cooking new things, I do often double check that I have everything in the pantry, but my spice cabinet, I must say I haven't used curry powder for quite a while, so obviously it got cleaned out at some point in a move or something like that. And the same for garam masala. I was quite sure I had some, but anyway, I'll buy it next time at the store. I know that the red curry paste is really tasty and flavorful, so I'm thinking it will still go really well because we sometimes do like a Thai beef like beef pieces curry. So I think this is still going to work. So let's try it out and get into the cooking. Before we do, please hit me up with a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you like meal prep and grocery hauls and stuff. I really value you being here. Let's get into the prepping. Okay, my kitchen is smelling amazing. This is just a tiny little lunch portion. Most of that big pot back there we'll be having for dinner later in the week. But I just really want to try this out. I had a little taste test for salt. I added a little bit of salt around the time I added in all the spinach and stuff. But it just like, oh, I wish you could smell my bowl. Okay, let's taste it. Mmm. That is so yummy. This is going to reheat beautifully. It's got so much yummy goodness in there. I reckon next time I might use a leaner beef. I think I did 70-30. So it's got a little bit of fat in it, but nothing too bad. This is so comforting. Definitely would be nice to have that curry powder flavor. So next time I cook this up, I will definitely make sure that I have garam masala and curry, and I will make it exactly as per the recommendations. I also ended up using coconut cream rather than coconut milk because I didn't have full fat coconut milk, and the recipe kind of called for that. But highly recommend this recipe. Make sure that you try it. I bet you this will be a favorite with the kids as well. So this made 3 pretty generous tubs. Now we will split this between my husband and I and serve it over rice for dinner. So this means that I have 3 pretty yummy meal prepped dinners ready to go. We're going to be having this twice this week, and I might make it, actually I might try and freeze one. I will report back to you how well it freezes. I will obviously let it cool fully first before I chuck it in my freezer. Thanks for tagging along with me in this recipe.